Right? Because I think at the end of the day, Web3 is here to stay. I'm 100% Web3 is here to stay. If not, I would cut my dick off, right? I think this is definitely here to stay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
GM, guys.
GM. Karen, how are you doing today?
I'm good, and just so you know, this is the worst weather in the year in Hong Kong. But welcome to the GM show. If you're new to the show, here are the ABCs of the GM show. You have to know this. Is Asia-focused, builder-friendly, and cool vibes only. We're bringing you another builder today, and my name is Karen, and I'm your co-host as well as head of social of Memeland. Yeah.
Cool. And I'm Casey, builder, investor, event organizer. And as you know, Karen and I love talking to founders and creators here in the Web3 space. And we're excited to be able to bring you this show to you live every week from the GM show studios in Hong Kong. This is episode, number 43.
Oh my God. If you're excited to be here, show us some love on X, YouTube, and Twitch, where we're broadcasting the live video. But we also know that you want to listen to the show. So we're also live on X Spaces, audio only. So you can do whatever thing you want on your phone while listening to us, because we love you.
Yeah, 2 ways to enjoy the GM show every week. All right. So before we begin, let's hear a quick word from our chairman.
What is discussed on the GM show is not investment advice. We may or may not have ownership interests in the projects we are talking about, but this is not investment advice in any way, shape, or form. And this is not Sir David Attenborough.
Okay,
right.
What is happening this week?
Well, first of all, let's bring on Ray Chan.
Hi, Ray.
Hey, GM.
Ray Chan joining us for the GM show again. That's great to see you, Ray. How is everything going in Memeland?
It's airdrop season. Airdrop season, as in I went to like NFT Paris and then I get airdrop like COVID. Yeah, so this is the last airdrop that people want.
Exactly.
You're not airdropping to anyone else though, which is good.
Yeah, hopefully I don't airdrop to anyone. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Guys, I'm in the U.S. And I picked up some stuff for you. I'm going to bring back to Hong Kong. I don't know who wants which one, but I picked up some of these Pudgy Penguin figures. Right, it was very cool from the Walmarts. Very exciting, and more importantly, I know you're very excited about this. Little McDonald's. So I went to this store and I got a bunch of these.
What's the taste like?
You're gonna have to, I brought it back. You can try it yourself. But it's it tastes like really bad Lee Kum Kee sauce. Right? It's okay. how corporate America thinks Asian sauce tastes like. But the bag is cool. And they did a lot of promotion just around a McNugget sauce. There's no burgers, no nothing. They did like a big deal there. So crazy.
The Asian flavor.
The Asian flavor, yeah. But you guys are now planning for NFT NYC. Any updates on that? What are you guys looking for that? It's so soon. It's coming up really quickly.
Yeah. We are planning to have like a little nice get together with our holders, and hopefully there are some surprises along the way. That's for sure. That's how we plan our stuff. But next stop is New York.
But no airdrops of COVID, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Great.
Ray, are you excited? Traveling again?
Yep, I think it's good, right? Because this is the first time after launching Memeland, I go to the US. It's good to meet our US or holders, right, around US. Yep.
Okay, good stuff. All right, today we're going to talk about Magic Eden. So let's take a look at what I guess I don't know if you don't know what Magic Eden is. Let's just do a quick share here. Marketplace, as we all know, Magic Eden is one of the 3 big NFT marketplaces alongside OpenSea and Blur. Though Magic Eden started mainly as a Solana marketplace, it's also where one of our past guests from Mad Lads was here. He makes his home here. In June, Magic Eden raised $130 million in a Series B, which valued the NFT platform at $1.6 billion US dollars only 9 months after they launched. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Today, they've expanded, of course, beyond Solana and connected buyers of Ethereum and Polygon NFTs. So you can check out their site. They have a tab here for the Solana ones. Oh, Bitcoin ordinals, Ethereum, and Polygon here. You can see all this cool stuff on their site. But at last year's Ape Fest in Hong Kong, they announced a landmark partnership with Yuga Labs to create a creator-first marketplace, which 100% enforces creator royalties, which is known as the Creators Alliance, showing solidarity with platform creators, an initiative that promotes a sustainable royalty framework, ensuring fair compensation for creators industry-wide. Of course, we know that was a big issue. Dozens of projects and companies have joined together, including Yuga, Artifact, Pudgy, and Zuki, and more. And of course, more recently, in the past few weeks, Magic Eden is now dominating trading volume with Bitcoin ordinals, boasting a near 40% share of trading volume. That is crazy to hear. So we're very excited to welcome our guest today. Karen, who is today's guest on the GM show?
Right. Today on the GM show, we have one of the co-founders of the leading cross-chain NFT platforms in the world, Magic Eden. Born and raised in Sydney, Australia, while working at Bain & Company, where he worked primarily with private equity and mining. He first got the crypto bug, so he left and joined DYDX, a decentralized crypto exchange, as head of strategy and business operations before joining Coinbase as senior product manager. In 2021, he co-founded Magic Eden with 2 other Australians, the triplets. And it began the first Solana NFT marketplace, but has now become the multi-chain platform, including ETH, Polygon, and Bitcoin ordinals. Please welcome to the GM show the COO and co-founder of Magic Eden, Zhuoxun Yin, aka Zedd. Hi, Zedd. I got the name right?
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Yeah.
GM guys, how's it going?
GM. We made a mistake though. You're not born in Australia. You're born in Malaysia and raised in Australia. And just before we got on, it's funny. Zedd told us he came to the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and met a guy. And a guy said, "You got to meet this other Chinese guy who also loves crypto, and he's Australian." And then they met another guy who was also Australian, Chinese, in the Bay Area. And it's just like they had to form either a rock band or a startup. And I guess the startup part won.
I guess 90% of my friends in the US were Australian, so I didn't really venture that far from what I'm used to. So the odds were probably pretty high for me to meet other like-minded Australians.
Amazing. Have you guys, Zedd and Ray, have you guys met in real life before?
Yeah, a few times, maybe too many times. We actually just met at in Paris. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Before we begin getting into the 20 questions that we always ask our guests, I thought we'd just warm up and talk a little bit about Bitcoin ordinals, right? We did a show about it last year. I think everybody's very excited about it. But you guys over at Magic Eden launched the marketplace for it, and it's doing very, very well. So maybe this is a question for both of you guys. Start with Zedd first. What's your thoughts on the whole Bitcoin ordinals market, and Ray as well? What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Yeah, in a really, really good way. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, we've done it's almost been $400 million in volume in 2 weeks, which I don't think the NFT market has seen anything like that since probably early 22. And some of the activity we saw was just crazy. In some ways, I want to say that it's like we had conviction in it from the very beginning, but we didn't obviously know how it was going to manifest like this. So we continue to be really excited about it. Like when we first built ordinals, I don't know if people remember, like people were trading on spreadsheets, and it was just mental. People were like sending straight up ETH and Bitcoin on Discord to people, and just dying to get like some low inscription number. And then that was what gave us conviction at the time. This was February of 2023 to build it. And now it's astounding. So we're working with probably 3-4 creators a week to launch their projects on Magic Eden for ordinals. Obviously, Node Monkeys has been going wild the last couple of weeks. Ordinal Maxi Biz has a big launch coming up next week. So really, really exciting. I think it brings something different. It's like a different kind of flavor to NFT markets from what we've seen on Ethereum and Sol, which I can get into if you guys want to get into it. But I think that's been exciting for people. It's like the slowness and the expensiveness of it is almost like it's like a feature. It's like not a bug, like people love that shit.
Right.
I mean, I think one thing that people have been talking about ordinal is because it's so slow. That's why you can't really dump a huge amount of ordinals at once. Right? So somehow the market is healthier, than ETH market right now. And also, of course, I think in Web3, whenever you get the attention, then you get all the liquidity and volume as well. Yeah, that's why we see ordinals has been doing really, really well these days. In fact, in our MVP, among our MVP, I think there are like 6 to 10 ordinal projects founders. And they have been launching like ordinals projects, and actually they are doing very, very well as well. Right? So I mean, I've learned a lot about ordinals from our holders. So it's very interesting to me, because it's like, okay, the teacher becomes the student, and then the student becomes the teacher, and then basically we just learn from each other in NFT, because the space moves so fast. Right? This is one of the amazing things in Web3, other than like money, other than like all these like new innovations. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so let's get into an interview. We asked the same 20 questions to each guest to get some insight into the day-to-day life, what inspires them, what lessons can they pass along to the next generation building a Web3. So Karen, what is the first question?
Yeah, let's get to know you as a builder. What is the one app you have on your phone that not many people do?
I had to think hard about this one, or like look at my phone for a while, because my homepage is full of just I'm like ashamed to say all the stuff that it's just not good for you. All the social media stuff, Telegram, Signal, all that rubbish. So the one that actually I think is maybe surprising, not many people might have, or like I spend a lot of time in, is I use Strava quite a lot. So it's like the activity tracking thing. And I really like it because you get like the same kind of dopamine feeling, but only if you do something good.
Yeah.
You like go out for a run, and then your friends like it. Like I think that's important for me. It's kind of like my one of the few things I get to do that's just outside of just like focusing on NFTs, which obviously is fun, but man, it's like all consuming.
Did you are you friends with the Steppen guys? I think they're based in Australia as well, right?
I know Mabel very well, but I've talked to the other guys, but I don't know them as well. But Mabel and I've got like we go a long way back, because she was one of the few really early investors in sort of DeFi and stuff back in like 2018. So when I was at DYDX, and like no one was really investing in crypto really at that point, because it was like the 17 cycle had finished, and then a bunch of builders were building the early DeFi protocols, but it was kind of like, what are these guys doing? So it seems very esoteric. But she was really interested and very deep in that space, so we became friends back then. But so I know Mabel really well. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
All right.
I realize all builders are runners.
All
Okay,
builders
next.
are runners, and all builders are in Australia. They start in Australia, and there's Solana builders who all start in Australia. Next question. What is the book you've given as a gift to the most, and why?
So I actually gave so number one, I can only count like 3 times when I've given a book to someone. So like
Okay,
I
that's
am
great.
not like a big book guy. But there's one that I gave to a few of my friends. This was actually in the last crypto cycle. 2020, yeah, 2020, I think it was. When all my friends were asking me, because I'm the guy in my friend group that's like trying to shill crypto all the time. You know, there's always that one guy. You know, like oh, this guy's talking about crypto again. So I gave them. There was like a book about It was like about Coinbase's founding story. I don't know. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Yeah. Anyway, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a pretty short book. But it sort of articulates the story of like how Coinbase got founded and then all the shit that they've had to go through over the years. And it's really good because it kind of tells more of like some of the interesting parts of why people should care about crypto, but also in a way that it's written almost like an article online. It's like very easy to read. It's like a story. It's not like a dry book about how crypto works. So yeah, that's one that I've.
Is it called Kings of Crypto?
Kings of Crypto. That's the one. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. It's available on Amazon, and you can just listen to it as well as an audiobook. Yeah, it's very short.
It's really good. It's really good. It's like I learned a bunch of stuff about just like some of the early stories about Coinbase too, and it's like holy shit, like yeah, they had to go through some stuff to get to where they are.
And are you in the book? You worked there.
I'm definitely not in the book. But I have a friend who's in the book.
Okay.
So shout out to Dave who's in the book. I was there way too late. I was there.
Coinbase was our batchmate at Y Combinator in
Right.
2012. Yeah, so
no
one.
way.
I mean, not no one, right? But at least I didn't know what like Brian Armstrong was doing. He was at the time. He's a single founder at the time. I think he recruited another co-founder after joining YC, right? And then he was like teaching people one by one how to kind of like open an account, open a wallet, and then send them Bitcoin and stuff, right? I mean, I wish I got closer with him. Otherwise, I wouldn't be working right now. I was just sitting on all this like Bitcoin and then doing nothing. I think that would be my dream, right? Right now, I have to work hard just because I didn't buy Bitcoin in like 2012. Yeah.
That's
all
insane.
right. Next question. What is something that has greatly influenced your life? Is it can be a person, a movie, a comic book? Yeah.
I think it's my parents, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I'll tell a little bit of a story. So like I was born in Malaysia, and we moved to Australia when I was 5. I'm the youngest in my family too, so I have like 2 older siblings. And it's funny, like the original sort of genesis of that was not like actually the family plan, which I didn't know this till I was an adult, but like at the time I obviously was too young to know. But the plan was that the kids were supposed to get sent overseas to just go to boarding school or whatever, you know, like that was the original plan. So that the original plan was like I would go to like, I don't know, like England or like Australia, Canada, wherever, just to go to boarding school. And then at some point my mom and my parents were like, oh, like why would we do that? Why would we like send our kids away so far? So they ended up deciding to just fully emigrate, right? So they decided to really just to pick up the family, move everyone, just so we could have like a better education in Australia. And which is like a pretty ballsy move, like at the time, because my mom had a business. She sold the business to make this move happen. So she was an entrepreneur and then had to take this pretty big gamble actually. And then, she didn't work for a while in Australia because it was like very hard to find work as coming in, you're like 35, 40, trying to start a career again. It's like pretty brutal. but very, very grateful for that. And like that, to be able to do that has some level of like, it's not even necessarily risk appetite, but it's just like a mentality that you're willing to go through some hard stuff, right? And didn't really realize that as a child growing up in Australia. Like I was like, oh, yeah, it's just fun, grow up in Australia, whatever. But now looking back, like as I'm getting to that age myself, I'm like way more appreciative of it, and it gives me a lot of I don't know, like mental fortitude, right? When I go through some hard stuff, because going through that, like 3 kids, trying to set that up, new life, like that is crazy. It's like unimaginable for me to even think about doing that if I had 3 kids at my age now. Sell my business, like sell this company and then just like go. That's like insane. So yeah, to me, that's like a really, really big one. It's like subconscious now because it's something I've realized as I've become an adult.
Well, good you don't have to sell your Web3 business because it can be anywhere.
Yeah, it's thankfully.
All right. Next question. Besides your smartphone, what is the one gadget or product in your life that makes it better? So it can be a bicycle, it could be your shoes. A lot of people say their AirPods makes their lives better. Well, what's something in your life specifically that you think makes it better?
Oh, AirPods, that's a pretty good one, actually. I would say 2 things. I would say okay, I have like this maybe touches on another topic about like weird routines that I have, but I have like a smoothie every day. So something that brings me a lot of joy is like the machine that makes this thing.
Okay.
That's one. I would say another one would be I track my sleep on like a device, and which is, yeah, I wear it here, the Whoop.
Me too. I got one too.
Yeah, I actually really some people, it gives them anxiety if they get like a bad sleep score or something. I don't know. Yeah, like
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you feel that way. But I actually think it's really good because it like I can generally operate on like pretty low amount of sleep a lot of the time. Like yeah, and so I actually think it's a good reminder sometimes to be like, yo, dude, stop doing that. Just go have a good night's sleep. Have do it properly for one night. So I think that actually improves the quality of my life.
Okay, good.
Okay, let's start the therapy section. What was an early job you had that you learned an important lesson from?
Okay, so the first job I ever had was I actually worked in a call center, believe it or not. So my job was this is when I was like 16. My job was the company would get these engagements where they would work with like local councils and like local libraries or like whatever, like company, like things like that. And we would have to call people to do surveys about whether or not they liked this particular business or service. And you can imagine the kind of job this is, right? You're calling people all day and nobody wants to talk to you. Like, you're not a telemarketer because you're not trying to sell something. You're just trying to do a survey. It's literally like, hey, what do you think of, I don't know, the history section in the library? It's like so stupid like that. But you can imagine people are just like, nah, you're trying to sell me something, like get out of here, like gonna hang up on you. So that taught me a lesson of just like, you have to be extremely resilient and persistent, right? There's no like, yeah, maybe 1 in 30 you'll get like an amazing person that's just like super happy to help you, but there's no like free ride. The only way you're going to get like the 30 a day that you need to do well in the job is you just got to call a lot of people. And I feel like that as a lesson was amazing because that carries in everything, in my opinion. Like even like this company, like, yeah, working in crypto, whatever, it's kind of just like nothing is free. You just got to like grind pretty hard. And I have some crazy stories about some stuff we did in the early days of Magic Eden that I think also exemplify that. But I think that started when, yeah, that was like a good first job for me because it really taught me like, man, you just got to push through the barrier because nothing just happens.
Yeah. Okay, you said it, so you have to drop at least one crazy story from the early days of Magic Eden.
Oh shit. Okay. So
People are not going to
when
let
we
us go if
first
we don't
started,
ask you that.
yeah. When we first started, so not many people know this. We were like the like the fourth or fifth marketplace on Solana. We were not even early on Solana. Like I remember we were chatting as a group, like, shit, should we start a company? Like, and over a couple of weeks when we were discussing it, like 2 marketplaces launched, and then we were like, oh my god, we gotta start now because we're already late. So by the time we launched, we were like number 5, and so we knew we were behind the 8 ball. And one of the things we did, because when you launch, nobody knows who you are, right? Like nobody's using your product. Like it's just out there in the world. But we realized pretty quickly that if we could get people to list their NFTs on Magic Eden, that would be at least, like, if we can find a way to do that, that would get us at least some traction to begin with. So what we started doing was, some people may remember this. It's like a very old OG NFT time, but in those days, there wasn't even an on-chain collection ID. So to list a collection on the marketplace, you had to go ask the creator for a list of hashes, and then they would send you like a JSON file and be like, here is the collection. And then we would do something and like put it and list it on the Magic Eden marketplace. And we realized that, okay, if we did that and we managed to do that quickly, we could get some traction because we could then get these collections on the marketplace early. So what we used to do is we ran a 24-hour operation where in the US hours, me and someone else would scour through all of the drop calendars that we could find every project that was launching. We would DM every single one on Discord and ask them for the hash list. And most of them would not respond. So then in the Asia hours, we had 2 other people who would then go through the same list and ping everyone again. So we had like an Excel sheet that was like, 12-hour shift, like just every single shift and then the outcome, right? And we did that for 2 weeks straight. And just over and over and over again. Usually by the 4th or 5th time, they would respond. But that allowed us to then get the hash lists early, or as quickly as possible. And then it allowed us to list the collections early. And then that led to us basically having the earliest available marketplace to then trade the collection, right? But that required some real, like, very dirty, unsexy work. Yeah, we were just out there literally messaging people on Discord.
The call center became the DM center.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's
you learned
right.
that from the call center. That's amazing. No, that's a great story. Okay, cool. All right, next one is okay, so you get a good night's sleep wearing your whoop. What does a normal day look like for you? What's your daily routine?
Daily routine is pretty simple. So I get up. I usually, take my time sort of getting up, have breakfast, which I also usually have the same thing most days. And usually about 2 hours after I get up, I will, finish my breakfast, all that stuff. I'll either go to the gym or go for a run every day. And then, by the way, I should mention as well that I'm based in Europe, but I work US hours. So my day is like kind of on like a slightly different cycle. So I get up and it's like I have a half the day where no one's awake yet because most of our team is in the US, which is awesome. So I just have a lot of like time to myself. So anyway, get some exercise in, come back, have lunch. That'll be, by then it'll be like, I don't know, 2 p.m. at that point. And then I'll probably start like checking emails, checking Slack, going on Twitter, all that stuff by like 3 p.m., which is sort of 7 a.m. in the US. And then day starts, work starts. So it's usually, that's like my usual Monday to Friday, I would say.
And then what time do you finish then if you're starting at like so late?
Usually like between 2 and 3 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's kind of just like offset, a normal day, but just offset.
Yeah.
So right now it's like 1:30 in the morning, but it's like pretty normal for me to be up at this time.
Is there a reason? Is there a reason for this?
Not particularly. I think it's just that our team, most of our business and the team and everything is in the US, and then I wanted to live here for some personal reasons,
Okay.
and I figured like I'm not going to inconvenience the company and
Yeah.
and the team. Like I will work around them, right?
Okay.
Which
Wow.
I'm also totally good with. So it works out pretty well because like I do find that since being on this time zone, I've had a better balance of being able to do other things in my life, right? I don't know if Ray feels this too. I'm actually really curious because when I'm in the US, it's sort of like I get up at whatever, like 7:30, 8. The day's just, it's going, you know. You don't really have time to yourself, and then you end up just kind of working all through. There's very little time for just like quiet time. Whereas here, it's like I have a good 4 or 5 hours of quiet time before anyone even wakes up. So that's the trade-off. Yeah.
I think when you are in the action show, right, basically there will be a lot of like meetings, a lot of like gatherings and events and stuff. I mean, this sounds good, right? Because we can meet people, we can get make connections, right? But the thing is, most of the time, like, especially in the early days of a company, I think the founding team should be just like sitting in front of the computer and keep working. Right? I think when we are kind of like a little bit remote from like the Silicon Valley or US in general, somehow it gives you more time to work. But also because after COVID, right, people getting more used to like having video call and stuff. So we don't, the productivity doesn't decrease that much. But meanwhile, you also have more time to do your own thing, right? For example, like right now, we have kids at our home. We have kids at our home. And then basically, I can spend most of my time in the morning, right? I'll send him to play group, and then I drive him around, and then to do some family stuff. And then after he has slept, and then I can keep working, right, for like 5 or 6 hours until like sometimes like 2 a.m. Hong Kong time, maybe like 4 a.m. Hong Kong time, right? That doesn't sound very healthy, right? Because I have to wake up at like 9 a.m., right? But I would say that but on the productivity side, I think it's actually quite okay. Right? But this is also one of the interesting things that I observe after talking to a lot of founders. Right? I mean, no one, right? Literally, no one in Web3 talk about like work-life balance to me.
Yeah.
Literally, no one, right? They only say that no sleep, right? But no work-life balance. And when you look at the space, Web3 is actually probably the only like industry that's growing right now across all the like different industry. Right? So I'm not saying that this is healthy, right? But I believe that I'm a Christian, right? That's why I believe in like seasons. I believe that this is like the spring, this is like the summertime, that we will have to work really, really hard, right? And of course, by hiring more smart people to join our team, then we can kind of like getting our life back to more like normal. But I would say that if you have to win, if you have to kind of like make it work, probably we have to kind of like readjust how we spend our time. And as you mentioned, and having I would say a different schedule than other people, maybe it's a good thing because somehow it gives us more time to think and more time to do our own work. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard though. Yeah, I'm sure Ray has this exact problem. It's like doing this is like a super international business. So you end up having calls all the time though. It's like very hard to then be like, I'm only going to take calls around this period. It never ends up like that. So
I'm trying to make it more regular because I just find it unsustainable in a way, right? Because I mean, sometimes the call is like at like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. in the morning, right? And the other call is like 2 a.m. in the morning, right? And then I still have to kind of like help my son go to like his playgroup at like 9 a.m. So I don't even have time to sleep because I feel like, okay, taking an afternoon nap, it sounds very unproductive, right? And it doesn't feel very healthy. So I want to set up most of my team calls at like a regular time, so that I can just block that off, and then I can just take other calls, right, during other free time and stuff. I think I'm trying to find an I would say equilibrium. It's hard, right? But I'm trying to do that. Yeah, otherwise, I don't think it works. Right? And to be honest, adding on like travels, right, to like events like Token 249 or like NFT NYC and NFT Paris, right? Basically, it makes things even worse because your routine kind of like getting broken. And then it's like so shitty, right? Because I mean, you have to meet other people, and after some time, and then you got sick, right? And then it disrupt your routine even more, right? So I would say that this is one of the challenges. That's also the reason why this question is one of my favorite among all the questions that we ask our guests. Because okay, I want to see how other people do it. Is it because I'm doing a really shitty job on maintaining my routine? But at the same time, it seems like everyone is kind of like doing that, right? But I would say that a lot of the founders, they have a pretty good routine in a way that they always have time for exercise. Right? For example, you mentioned that you run a lot, right? I think that's helpful, right? For me, I missed that part, right? So that I've gained almost like 30 pounds after joining Web3. Right? So this is the Web3 part for me, and I think this doesn't sound very healthy. Yeah.
So one thing I'll show, like when we first started Magic Eden, the first year I also gained like 25 pounds because I did not have there was no not even a semblance of a routine. It was 2021 bull market. It was just crazy, you know. So that, and then I realized, I was like, oh my god, I got to do something, because it's not sustainable, right? Like, got to do this for a long time. So but since being on this offset schedule, it has made exercise and things a lot easier, but it's still like, you got to work on it. You got to like try and put some boundaries. I imagine it's a lot harder with a kid too. I actually don't have kids, Ray, so that probably makes
I don't know
easier.
whether this is like public and stuff, right? But I think your co-founder, right? I think, or at least some of your core team is starting to having kids, right? I think that's the real challenge start, right? So after getting into Web3 and having kids at the same time, I respect all the working parents in Web3, right? Not just father, right? But of course, mom, right? This is like crazy. If you can manage a new kid, right, and then can manage your business, right? That means that you must have a good partner. It doesn't mean that you are a good person or smart guy, right? But basically you need a good partner in order to make it work. Either like a good wife or a good husband. Otherwise, it's just impossible. Yeah. So this is why I'm very grateful.
In Web3.
Pardon?
A good partner that's not in Web3.
Yeah, exactly. Right. They have to be in another industry, or like maybe like a full-time dad or full-time mom. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. They have to kind of like cover your shift, because I mean, constant call and then keep monitoring the so-called like 4Pi and Discord and whatever social media channel. Right? This is just like never ending. So I think this is really, really challenging. Respect to all the Web3 parents. Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Great. We also need a founder's weight loss program. Next question is, what is an unusual habit that you have?
I don't know if this is unusual. Okay, so basically, we just talked about my schedule, right? So like I go to bed at like, I don't know, 3 or something on an average night, which is sometimes hard because like if I just get off a meeting, I'm still like, my brain is still wired, you know, I'm still like thinking about work. I'm thinking about the next day. I'm thinking about shit that happened today. Like sometimes it's hard for me to like, get to turn my brain off and just like go to sleep. But I know I should go to sleep because it's like 3 a.m. I'm like, what am I doing? So, a weird habit that I have is that, at night when I'm trying to switch off, I actually go on YouTube. And I know people say like, you shouldn't look at screens and shit when you're trying to go to sleep. But I go on YouTube and I actually watch like meat grilling videos. I find it like insanely...
7.
And you're not hungry watching it?
I just find it insanely relaxing because it's people just like grilling stuff and the meat looks awesome and like they're slicing it. It tastes. I'm just like, it's so calming for me because it takes my mind off like some other shit.
Is it like sizzling ASMR kind of?
Yeah, 100%. It's like throwing seasoning on the meat, and then it's like putting it on the grill, and it's like fucking sizzling, and
Amazing.
it's awesome.
You got to share
It's
with us
awesome.
the channel that you you subscribe
I
to.
will.
for
I'll
this.
share with you guys like 5 of them because I now have like a
What?
rotating.
There
I
are
have,
5
a
channels
rotating-
doing this. Oh my god.
There are people doing all kind of like different stuff on YouTube. Right?
That's
So,
true. That's true.
But you are not the first founder that share with me where the way to decompress is actually to watch YouTube video. Right? I think, for example, like Wes, one of my good friends, who's also the co-founder of like Casetify, right? And then he mentioned to me that it's like me time. Right? It's like he sit at on the toilet, right? And then watch some true crime like documentaries on YouTube. And there was and he mentioned to me that, hey, when you see people getting killed and then murdered and then solve the crime, then you just feel like your day is actually still okay because you're still alive and you run your own business. Right? You're not getting killed. I mean, there was like some sick shit when he mentioned to me, especially when he watching that when it's like pooping, right? But it's like because he's like a very like a Porsche guy in general, right? So I think all this kind of stuff is almost like, hey, you have to use your brain all day long. And then you just want some downtime that you don't have to make your brain function, right? And I think this is very interesting. And for me, I watch a lot of like animes and then like a drama and shit, right? K-drama, right? So when people talk to me, I usually ask them, hey, what are the latest like drama or animes that you watch, right? And to me, it's more like a research because I have to kind of like keep updated. Because I live in Hong Kong, I still want to talk to our holders, right? And to be honest, what a better, I would say, conversation opener, right? Using like K-drama and also like anime and stuff like that. Right? So to me, that's an excuse. But at the same time, I think grilling is the first thing that I heard about like this type of video. Yeah, I should check it out. Yeah.
We should
I'll
have
send you
a
some.
we should have a grilling ASMR for Steakland. So we're grilling steaks for.
Yeah,
for
I
our-
mean, it's cooking, right? I mean, Web3 people
It's
love
cooking.
cooking, right? So let him cook, right? So I think this is literally you watch him cook. Yeah, I think it's funny. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was just saying, Zedd, before you won that question, I think that's the best answer we've heard so far.
Yep.
Most outrageous one. Oh, sorry. I'm the next one. I'm so stuck on the meat grilling in my mind. Okay, number 8. What new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life? So you said you put on a lot of weight at the beginning. You started running, exercising, getting into that. Is there anything else that maybe you started changing to improve your life?
So definitely running. Which by the way, I only started doing very recently. 2 years kind of thing. I never was into that at all ever in my life, but it really has genuinely feel like it has improved my life in a number of ways. Like I feel it's almost it's very like creates clarity for me, when I'm just out there. Because I try not to listen to music or do anything. I just go out there. And I think that is nice, and it's a different state to be in, because when we're working in Web3, it's like dopamine in every area, like even within Magic Eden, like in our Slack, everyone is just like posting stuff, like fired up about this, like look at this thing, look at that thing, and notifications going everywhere. So I find this is like really good. I would say the other thing is like trying to get on a more, this is really hard with travel, of course, but trying to just get on a schedule as best as possible. Like trying to have and I was, again, like for the first 2 years of Magic Eden, I did not do this. I kind of just let whatever happen to me, because we were just in the mode of like, let's do anything, do everything, try and tackle everything at the same time. But now I actually feel like you cannot be that effective if that's happening to you. So now it's like I try and keep on a schedule, because one, if I know like when I generally should go to sleep and when I can get up, then I can plan the rest of my day accordingly, right? And that allows me to go do other things like go exercise if I want to. So yeah, and then what helps me plan that day is like keeping everything, like as much of my life like pretty simple, you know. Like I always eat the same breakfast and like just stuff like that. It's like just simple, you know, like so I think those are the two things in the last couple of years.
That's the Steve Jobs thing,
really
right?
helped.
Steve Jobs always wore the same outfit, so you don't have to think about what to wear every day.
Oh yeah, I'm not that extreme yet. Yeah, I'm not yet that extreme. But I do, you know, since starting Magic and becoming a founder, I have appreciated like routines a lot more than previously. Yeah, I used to hate routines. I used to not be a routines guy. Now I'm kind of like, oh, let me go back to my routine. You know, I really crave it.
Do you use your Google Calendar? Is that like your best software thing to organize your day, or what do you do?
Pretty much. Yeah. At this point, like my friends, my wife, they will just put stuff on my calendar, like, because they know that I'm going to look at it. Yeah. It's like the best like global organizer for me. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but like that's kind of just the reality. Because I
think Ray too, right? Ray's living on the calendar now.
I try to. I mean, the thing is, right? It's not about the tool. It's about the rules, right? It's about the priority that you set. Right? For example, I only share my calendar, right, with the people that I really want to really want to engage with, right? And then, for example, for my daily life, my wife can put on an event on my calendar, right? And then the category is like family. And then that will always kind of like trumps other like meetings and stuff. So when she blocks the time, then all other meetings cannot block that time, right? So I think that's almost like my commitment, right, to her, saying that, okay, family first, right? And she also respect that in a way that only like important stuff she blocks that time, right? Otherwise, she just like talk to me and stuff. And to me, I try to like have lunch with her, have dinner with her, right? And then we try not to. I seldom talk about works that much because honestly, I don't think she understands. Right? As long as the Bitcoin price goes up, like Bitcoin price goes up, right? Then I think she's happy, right? Because I got her to buy Bitcoin at the last peak, right? So. Yeah. She and also some of her friends, they were like, "Shit, we are down bad." And then she asked me, "Hey, which app that they should use?" And I was like, "Hey, BlockFi seems pretty good, right? Because you just have to kind of like do DCA there, and then BlockFi got bankrupt and shit like that, right?" So I mean, finally, Bitcoin kind of like coming back, and then all the prices are coming back, and then I was like, "Okay, you see, I'm actually the smart guy, right? I didn't it's just that it takes some time to show." But I think, jokes aside, I agree with you that I mean, routine is actually very important, especially right now when I have a young kid. The day that he kind of like sleep late or also like eat late, basically he become like very cranky and easy to cry all the time. I feel like human beings need a routine. I think only because when we were younger, and then we have so much energy that we can kind of like compensate with the loss of the routine. Right? But when you get older and also you have more things to do, you need to go back to your routine so that somehow you feel like you have more control of your life, and also you have better, I would say, arrangement of your energy. So this is actually what I try to do as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so for when you're feeling overwhelmed, what do you do and how do you relax?
So okay, I'll answer the first part. What do I do when I feel overwhelmed? I actually usually try and like if I feel myself getting into that state of like, oh, I'm like thinking about this thing and I can't get it out of my head and I'm like worrying about it, starting to get anxious, I'll actually try and write it down, like either like type it on like a note, like my notes thing on Mac, or like write it in an actual notebook. And I'll just start writing whatever comes to my head about this topic. And usually it'll end up being like me describing the problem. And then it'll get to be me like, what am I going to do about it? Like, it's not always super structured, but it'll end up being some version of that. And I always feel better after that, actually. I will always feel better. Like, even if I'm not solving the problem immediately, I'm just like literally putting it on paper. I just calm down. Like, it feels like I've already made some progress thinking about it, and ultimately that is what gives, at least for me, that when I do get some kind of anxiety or like worries, it's usually because I'm dreading doing something. I have fear over like a potential outcome of something. So I find that writing it down is just like, it's taking that first step, and then you already feel better about it because you've sort of overcome that initial like fear demon, and then from there it just gets easier. And that's something that I also did not used to do. I started doing this like maybe 6 months ago. Yeah, like, and the catalyst was actually that, yeah, like going through building a company, it's like there's so much stuff that you're just doing for the first time. You don't know how to do it. Like it's not like, even for Magic Eden, where we had like an insane like beginning of the company. I mean, even now, like I feel extremely privileged about where we are, but so many times on this journey, you feel like I don't know how to do that, or oh, there's no way I can do that. I have no idea. That seems too crazy. And for me, that was like, I've never really managed like large teams before. And so, naturally you have to deal with like organizational things, like people problems, like all this normal stuff that happens in a company. And these things I just didn't know how to do. So like, I started feeling that, yeah, I need to find a way to like at least clear my mind and get to a state where I can at least think about it. And this really, really helped for me.
Great. Okay, next one, number 10. What is one failure you've experienced, and how did you overcome it? It could be personal, it could be through the business, but what is one thing you'd like to share with us?
I'll share one from pre-Magic Eden, but I think it was very, kind of like a seminal point for me. So, yeah, as everyone knows, I'm from Australia. And then when I first moved to the US, this was in 2015. I was working at Bain. So like, yeah, comfortable sort of like, corporate job. And then I decided to leave and join this startup. It was like a Series A, like in the auto industry. They were trying to like, it was like a take on like dealerships. They were trying to like basically move dealerships online. That was like the business. And they raised a big round, and I joined them because I was like, oh yeah, I want to work in tech. I want to do something different. And about 3 months in, it basically I think they basically like messed up something, got into a bad deal, or like realized they were burning too much money. Then they like laid off like 40% of the company. And that I was one of those. And it was particularly tough because like I left what I thought was like a really good job to join them, number one. And number two, I was on a US visa, and that was tied to the job. So I had 14 days to figure out if I could get another job and stay in the US, or just get sent back to Australia, right? And I was like, it was crazy stressful because number one, I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted. I was kind of just like 23, 24, just like there for the ride, just wanted to experience something. And suddenly it sort of forced upon me like, yo, do you actually want to stay in the US and like try and make a career in working in tech and doing something there? Or do you just want to maybe go back to Australia, go back to the same job or something, and just, yeah. So that was pretty hard. Like, yeah, kind of like everything up to that point work-wise was like on the up, and then suddenly just, everything was gone. But yeah, it was good in the sense, I look back on that fondly because it forced me to crystallize what I really wanted, out of just professional life and like work and stuff. Ended up deciding to stay in the US, hustled really hard in 2 weeks, and managed to find someone who would take me. And I ended up joining this other company. This was still before I got into crypto. And then me staying in the US led to me, I think, eventually doing crypto. I almost can say for certainty, almost certainty, that I would not be working crypto if I went back to Australia.
Interesting.
because it's just a different market, you know, like the industries there are like mining resources, telecommunications. It's not technology. It's not tech. Like a company like DYDX, there's no way in the world that would get funded in Australia. Because like
Exactly.
it just would not, culturally, just people would not make that kind of bet. So I'm really glad that I ended up, you know, sticking to it and trying to work through it. It was not that clear and easy at the time, but yeah, looking back, very very grateful.
Yeah.
Great.
When you say the U.S., you do mean Bay Area.
Yeah, I was in San Francisco. Yeah.
Great. What is the one best investment you have ever made, and what were the returns? Is it your money, your time, your energy, or is it yourself?
I think honestly, it's going to work at DYDX in late 2017. Yeah, which is, I guess, an investment in my time. Because number one, like, yeah, it allowed me to get really deep in the industry very early, but not in like a superficial way, in like like with high quality people, you know, building like a real enduring product. You know, DYDX is still killing it today. Antonio's still a monster. Like, I'm, you know, all of that, like, and yeah, going through that experience and really learning about everything was super. Yeah, that's basically, that opened all the doors that eventually came, over the years in crypto for me, because which is so lucky. You know, I'm so like grateful for that, because it's, when you're working in crypto, you realize how many like random shit projects there are. And I probably could have just as easily ended up at one of those.
Right.
Because I'm not like, I'm not an engineer, so it's hard for me to like evaluate like technically was this idea sound or something. I had no idea. I mainly just made the bet on the person, like Antonio, right, the founder. And I was like, yo, this guy, he seems really legit and like very long term. And I don't know how the product that we're building is going to go, but I have conviction in him. So let's just give this a try.
Right.
And just so lucky, I think. And I think that's the best investment, because it has opened up like, a lot of opportunities for me. Obviously, financially it was good. And then starting Magic Eden and the opportunity to do that and learn through this whole journey, I don't think that would have happened if I was not at DYDX. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that leads into the next question then, and it could be the same person, but who is someone you look up to, and what is your favorite quote from him or her? So is it Antonio, or is it somebody else in your life that may, or somebody you don't know, but somebody's influenced your way of thinking?
Antonio is definitely up there. He knows this. He's up there. He's definitely still a mentor of mine, and we talk a lot. Still good friends. I'll give like a kind of a funny one. Like that company, that situation before, when I was like hustling to find a job, I ended up going to this other startup, like a healthcare startup. It was founded by this like Pakistani dude who we got along really well. He's like, just funny guy, and anyway, all of that. But he one of the things he used to say, actually, before I get to that, the reason I look up to him is because he has an insane like work ethic, or like grittiness to him, which I think is so important as a founder. And you know, there's probably like 5 to 10 times where that company could have died in some form, but he always found a way. He always found a way to just like do something, you know, like raise the little bit of money, or like close the deal, or like whatever. And anyway, so my favorite quote from him is he used to always say to me, like, humans are the worst. And I don't know if I fully believe it. It's like pretty out there, but I always thought it was hilarious, because it really emphasized the point about like, keep things simple, you know, keep things simple, or like trying to automate things, and like create like a clean process, because humans will find a way to like just
Yeah.
mess things up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that
great.
always stuck with me. Like always
great.
stuck with me because yeah, I think it's really true too. Maybe not at the extreme level, but some diluted version of it, I think, is actually very, very applicable.
I love it. I feel like
I'm not your mentor, right? But I literally have an artwork by Joan Cornella, right, at my home, which is like it said like humans are virus, right? And I kind of feel like that way, right? Especially after going into Web3, because I mean I mentioned it a few times on GM show and also in other occasions. Is Web3, right? The tech is awesome. People are awful. Because I mean, when you look at blockchain, when you look at all this like innovation, I think it's actually can improve the world a lot. Right? But most of the time, basically because of the greed of human beings, right? So all this kind of stuff becomes like rug pull, becomes like bad projects, right? And then a good space, right, it will get destroyed, right, by some like real like incentive and stuff like that. Right? So I think this echoes with me a lot. Yeah.
You know who else said that? The Matrix.
Yep. Here's my favorite question of all. What is the one conventional wisdom that you disagree with? There's a lot of Web3 founders saying that they don't believe in work-life balance, and I wonder if that's true for you too.
Huh. Okay, I'll answer that one. Then I also have another one. So that one, yeah, I don't really believe in it in the sense of like, I don't think it's like binary like that. It's more like you just got to make the two work somehow to the best of your ability. And that's kind of just like making some trade-offs as and when it's needed. Like Ray was saying, right? Like sometimes there is some family stuff that just you just got to do it. It's like it is most important. And there's no way around it. But it's the traditional notion of like maintaining a work-life balance of like doing a 9 to 5 or something. I don't think that's realistic in crypto. At least if you're like trying to build something and connect with the community or like any of that stuff. But the other thing I was going to say was this may be a little bit abstract as a thing, but there's a lot of like conventional wisdom that that gets told to you as a founder of like, this is the best way to do X, or this is the best way to do Y. Like, and I actually think that's like it's like a wrong / dangerous way to operate the company, because the circumstances are always very different, right? Like very likely your circumstances in your company are going to be very unique. So someone that's giving you the advice of like, no, this is the best way to do it, maybe that's true given the situation they were in, you know, with like this team size, with these people dynamics, these personalities, this situation, maybe that's true. But yeah, very rarely have I ever seen like one-to-one advice like that actually works. So I think my thing that I disagree with here is like, always take advice with some grain of salt, you know, and it's fine to take a lot of inputs, but ultimately you got to make the call, and you need to apply it to the actual people, the situation, the market, whatever it is, the thing that you're trying to solve. Like you got to think about it from like some level of first principles.
Good. Now when you go out to conferences around the world or meetups, you probably meet a lot of young founders that want to get into Web3. What is one piece of advice you would give to them if they were the first-time founder? Besides, you're going to put on a lot of weight and you're not going to sleep.
Yeah, get a routine. I think it's basically like don't wait. Just be fast, you know, in whatever you're doing. Like whether it's like, should I or shouldn't I, like, you know, I don't know, build this feature or build this product. It's like, yeah, well, stop talking about something. Like, just what can you do tomorrow? You know, like really, how do you really accelerate things like beyond even what you think is possible? I think that's actually really important because yeah, crypto, I mean, it's true for any startup, but in crypto, things just move even faster. Like the market moves way faster. So some idea that might seem good, maybe it won't be good, but you should go try it and you should get signal on it as soon as possible. So I think the velocity, like that early stage velocity, I think is like really, really important. Don't spend too much time like trying to build something really perfect or like try and design something really beautiful. It's like just get the thing out there and then let the people tell you if it's good or not. And yeah, most people take way too long. You got to do it as quickly as possible. Like the first version of Magic Eden released in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So just to give people like some, it was not a good product. I'll say that right now. It was terrible.
Did you build it? How did you build? What did you build it on, or how did you build it?
Okay. Oh, this you guys we should get Sid to come on this because like he has some crazy stories. But so Sid's my co-founder, our CTO. The first version of Magic Eden, we actually used a front end template that we found on the internet, and we literally Googled NFT marketplace template, and we used that.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's why as well, like our colors were kind of this like dark purpley kind of thing
Because
that
that's
was
what came with the template, right?
That's what came with the template. Then we designed our logo and everything off of that.
Okay.
So
Amazing.
that's like an example of like we could have designed something nicer, but we were just like, you know what? Let's just path of least resistance. Let's get something out there, and then if people like it, we can like make it better.
Amazing.
Great. What is the worst piece of advice you ever received?
Maybe from an investor or a partner.
Let's come back to that. I don't have. Let's come back to that. I don't have something that comes to mind yet.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Next one: Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, or Elon Musk. Why?
Oh man. Probably Elon. I think it's probably Elon. Yeah, I mean they're obviously all amazing in some way, but I do think Elon is like, the guy is like next level on a lot of things. But I do, I mean, he's kind of like, he says a lot of wild stuff, does a lot of wild stuff, but I think deep down I do feel like he just wants to, like make the world better. Like deep down, I do believe that. And the fact that he like tries to take on seemingly really absurd projects that no one would conceivably want to do, that is like super admirable. Now whether or not I want to work with him, it seems like too much. I read his like the couple of books that were about him, and I was like, whoa, this guy's pretty out there. But no, I think I have huge respect. Like he's done some insane stuff. Yeah, hard to beat, I think.
Okay, let's get into the Web3 side of things. You mentioned that you won't be in Web3 if you're not in the US. So what exactly got you into Web3? What happened? Is it a friend? Is it like the job that you're doing?
Okay, so it's a combination of I bought some bags myself and I was holding some crypto. Then that guy that I know that was in that book, Kings of Crypto. So he was a friend of mine who was an early employee at Coinbase, and he had told me about Bitcoin, when he joined Coinbase, and he was the one actually that had introduced me to DYDX. So he was like a seed investor in DYDX. So that I think had a huge amount to do with it, because then I was able to like, there was someone that I could talk to that was like, I was like, yo, is this legit? How should I think about this? Like, am I doing the right thing? All that kind of stuff. Like I could ask him all of my dumb questions. And I think that helped like, get me a lot of the way. So that was one. And then I think beyond that, I also think that once I started owning crypto myself, you just naturally want to read more about it, right? You just learn about it. And it took me a while because I was not technical. I'm not an engineer. It took me a while, but man, yeah, it's such a deep rabbit hole that
Sure.
I found myself just going down that rabbit hole pretty quickly. And once you're in, I could not pull myself out.
I think this is an example of try to have friends or have people right around us who are smarter than us. Right? Smarter. It doesn't have to be generally smarter, but more like okay, they are curious about different things, right? And then they can be expert of a category, so that you can learn something from them. Of course, people say that okay, you can learn something from everyone, right? I don't believe in that bullshit, right? But I think definitely there are some people who are smarter than us, and then you can talk about problems in life, at work, and then maybe some new ideas with them. By having that, we can elevate ourselves, and at the same time, we also help to elevate other people, right? If possible, because most of the time, I think a lot of people who can't grow is because okay, they always want to be the smartest guy in a room, right? But the thing is, if you are that guy, then basically you can't really learn, right? When you go into that room. I think that's why one of the few reasons that I like to go to an event is, hey, there are like some good speakers. I'm not going to listen to their talk, right? But I can listen. I can go to them and then try to ask them some questions I have, and then to see what was the answer for that. Yeah, I think that part is actually very important. I remember I listened to one of the speeches of like Zhuoxun, right, the co-founder of Dropbox, like quite some time ago. He said that okay, you are like I think he is a quote from that he listened right before. It's like you're the average of the 5 friends, right, that you have. Right? And to me, I think that's very true, right? Because after getting into crypto, I just feel like okay, there are so many smart people out there. And if you kind of like, okay, getting into a group who only talks about like alpha and stuff, then you will just focusing on buying shitcoin and stuff. But if you talk to a lot of builders, right, then you keep thinking about, okay, how we can solve problems with blockchain, with like all these like new Web3 tech, right? So picking the crowd to be in actually help us to find a better way in our life. I think that part is really, really true, especially when I continue to learn more, right, and then build more. Yeah, and I think that's one. That's why I feel like okay, when you mentioned that okay, you have a friend and then got into crypto, right? And that friend is also obviously he's also a smart guy, right? Because he's like a seed investor in like DYDX, right? So this is almost like an example for that.
Yeah, that's super true, man. Yeah, the average of the people around you. I think that's really, really true. Both in like personal and work. So no, it's amazing way of putting it.
All right, for the next question, this is something I really want to know as well. So our next question is, what was your first NFT? What did you learn from it? And do you still own it? And so I guess this is somewhat the birth of Magic Eden, right? You must have been, were you guys like totally into buying NFTs and you're like, okay, we want to start a marketplace around this? Or was it just an idea that you guys wanted to do? Like, how does the NFT component come into play? Was it before, during, or after the creation of it? And how, and do you still have this, or whatever NFT this is? It's got to be a Solana one, right? You still have it today, or do you?
No, so my very first NFT was actually, I had a CryptoKitty, or like a couple of CryptoKitties back in the day, which I didn't do anything with them. And then I basically bought a bunch of random Ethereum NFTs in like early 21. I want to say first half of 2021. There's a ton of them. There's like, I even bought all these like random, it was crazy. Like there was like I think maybe the first one was like some kind of punk derivative. Like it was like dystopian punks or something like that, like which pumped all the way up to like 4 ETH. It was like crazy. And at that moment I was like, oh, this is I'm hooked,
Yeah.
My first Solana NFT was a Thugbirds. I still I actually don't have it anymore. I gave it to someone in the company. So but it's still in the Magic Eden family.
Okay.
But yeah, believe it or not, like we were trading a little bit, but we were actually trading more fungible tokens,
Okay.
just amongst us, like before we started the company. But we just felt like, yeah, if NFTs could go that big on ETH, like there was a good shot that it could go really big on other chains. So we decided to try it on Solana. That was kind of the genesis of it. And I think that's still really true. You know, if the chain can offer different properties, definitely some people will find ways, like the builders will find ways to like do something interesting with that. So yeah, I think that's still going to play out.
Have you bought a Bitcoin ordinal?
Yes, of course. I have a bunch. Yeah, I usually try, and if I like the project or like the art, I'll just like pick one up on secondary. I don't do like I'm not like a big sweeper, flipper, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm almost like the dream holder for a creator, you know, because I just buy the thing and then I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't do anything with it. I just keep it at that point.
You are the exit liquidity. Yeah, Web3 needs more you. Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. I guess I am the exit liquidity. Yeah. But yeah, no, I love ordinals. Yeah, really. I mean, the thing before about like, because it's expensive, there's a barrier to entry. It's actually really true. So there's a lot of stuff there that I've liked.
Cool.
Great. Okay. So before the last question, I think a lot of people would like to know, what are you working on right now? What's happening in Magic Eden? Why now, and why you?
Like me personally, or like what's the company working on right now?
Yeah, what are you working on in Magic Eden right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm spending a lot of time right now on two things. One is our Ethereum marketplace. Obviously, that's why I'm spending time with Ray, and he's probably sick of seeing me. And then so that's one. And like, yeah, this is a really important thing for us because obviously ETH is where, you know, NFTs really got going, and we have a lot of these like flagship partnerships with creators. We're trying to build this creator focused marketplace. We still think that ETH NFTs have a very, very bright future. These things always go in cycles. You know, 4 or 5 months ago, Solana was absolutely dead.
Right.
It was so quiet.
Yeah.
And same with ordinals. Actually, in August, September, nothing was happening on ordinals. I think we were doing a couple of $100,000 a day in volume. Right.
Wow.
Really nothing. So these things come in cycles. So we're still long-term very, very bullish. And yeah, it's kind of just a step along the journey of just building this multi-chain marketplace, right? Because you know, we support 4 chains. It doesn't stop at 4 chains. There's obviously many, many more chains.
Right.
There's all these L2s. There's all these L1s. You know, a new breed of L1s getting launched this year. So we're very excited about it, and we want to be able to add them all. And then the other thing we're thinking a lot about is Bitcoin runes. So I'm spending a bit of time with the team thinking through that. You know, what should the experience look like? How should this live on Magic Eden? What other kinds of features we want to build? Which is pretty exciting. It's like
pretend I don't know what that is. What is that exactly?
Yeah, it's kind of like a new fungible token standard on Bitcoin.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was a big wave, you know, mid last year for this thing called BRC20. It was like the fungible token thing for Bitcoin, for ordinals. But yeah, BRC20 had a lot of also drawbacks. Like it's very hard to use, very hard to aggregate liquidity because everything had to be bought in like buckets, so to speak, rather than just pure fungibility. Anyway, so runes like addresses some of these things, and it also has sort of like the core ordinals developers sort of stamp of approval, so to speak. And a lot of the community is pretty excited about it. So like some of the ordinals that are trading today like have some association with runes, like RSIC on Magic Eden, for example. So the community is just very excited about it. And yeah, anyway, we are kind of working through like how to support it, like what is it going to look like, But I think yeah, we are excited because I don't know. I think Ordinals has led to a burst of interest and activity about like building stuff on Bitcoin, and I think that's really cool. You know, we all mostly got here because we got interested in Bitcoin to begin with. So to think that there could be a broad ecosystem, a rich ecosystem around it is incredible. And if we can have some part in that, that'd be hugely aspirational for us.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. All right. Here it is. The final question. So you do a lot of interviews like this. I've seen a lot of spaces, and you've probably seen a lot of other people being interviewed in the media, mass media about Web3. So maybe you've heard this, but what is the one misconception about Web3 that you personally would like to change? What's one thing that you hear a lot and you're like, no, I want to set the record straight forever on this kind of thing, on this kind of topic?
I think it's that, yeah, the one that really gets me the most is that, you know, crypto's just full of scams or something, like, you know, crypto scammy, or like, yeah, that narrative in particular gets me because it paints this, I don't know, like overly negative like, yeah, representation of the whole industry. Whereas, and that's really not true, you know, like every industry has its bad actors and scammers or whatnot. But really what we should be doing is we should be encouraging and like being positive towards the people that are trying to push this industry forward, which is not easy. You know, it's like so many uphill things to do, and it's like hard, and it's like a grind. And I wish the media would call out that more often, you know, versus just trying to default to the people. Obviously there's pockets that are doing bad things, but by and large, I do think that we are all in this industry because we think that the possibilities are amazing, and the possibilities is like very promising. And at least we certainly feel that way in Magic Eden. So that would be one thing I would like to reverse. You know, scams are whatever. It happens in every industry. It's not just crypto. And almost like the mission of crypto and Bitcoin and ETH and all this stuff is so much bigger than that. And if they could see just, I don't know, a quarter of what are the amazing innovations that sort of happen on a week-to-week basis because the market moves that quickly, people would be really shocked, I think.
I think that, I don't know about you, but I think that marketplaces like Magic Eden should be a little bit more out there representing that, because you guys see a lot of trading volume every day, and you know like who is launching on your platform and how, you know, these are respectable, you know, they seem respectable projects going out there, but they're not like scam, they're not rug pulls and things like that. I do think that the creators thing that you're doing to enforce royalties is a big step forward, right? Because that was a big promise of the whole NFT thing that kind of disappeared, and everybody got really mad about it, right? And you guys are doing that. Do you see that as well as a thing that's helping to change, you know, some people thinking how, you know, it wasn't, you know, the NFT contracts weren't as tight as people thought at the beginning for artists especially?
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the things. I mean, even broadly, like through the bear market, there was a lot of really negative media about NFTs, like NFTs are dead, you know, all the typical stuff. Which actually, to be fair, that happened in 2018 as well, about
exactly.
ETH and tokens and whatnot. I think the other big story, I think for us at least, is it's somewhat like this articulation that you don't need to be so tribal in the chains that are being used. We had to even fight this quite a bit over the last 12 months because, you know, when we like started doing things outside of Solana, we got a lot of FUD, you know, within the crypto community, but also like in the media, people saying like, "Oh, are you guys just going to abandon Sol?" You know, it was kind of like that. But it's absolutely not. You know, like Sol is our home. That's where we started the company. It's so important for us. But there's also so many amazing things happening on other chains. And if we had that mentality of like being very insular, we would never have built on Bitcoin. And in some ways, ordinals and Bitcoin has the potential to be one of the hugest innovations in crypto going forward. So yeah, it's you know, we will do our best to fly the flag, so to speak. And I do think the Bitcoin story is a really big one. Yeah, because this is something that, I mean, no one really thought this was going to play out like this. You know, Bitcoin was like meant to be store of value only. So
Yeah.
if there is some semblance of a builder ecosystem around this that's real and has user activity, that's huge. That could be potentially massive.
This is one thing that I find it weird, right? When I joined Web3 is on one hand, most people in Web3 they want to become like a pioneer, right? They want to become like the innovators because they want to prove to the world that, okay, this is something new that we are building, right? You should support the new tech, right? The new kind of like disruption. But at the same time, a lot of the quote unquote OG, they're actually against a lot of like innovation, right? When you talk to like some crypto OGs, I mean, they basically shit on all the new stuff. But the thing is, if things actually worked, right, then everyone would be buying Bitcoin. Everyone would be like using the same old chain, right? But the thing is, I believe that there is a future where people just keep kind of like disrupting, right, all the existing stuff. Oh, maybe Bitcoin. I mean, I think there are some like provenance and also some like a deep down like a cultural value and a lot of like the greeted value that will continue to be very, very powerful. But a lot of the new things, actually, we should try it, right, before we reject it. Right? If we reject all the new ideas, how does it different from, hey, my mom, right, saying that Bitcoin is a scam? Right? I think this is, or how does like my father say that, okay, mobile phone is like a waste of time. Right? I mean, probably true in a way, right? But I think this is not the way to move forward. And I believe that we almost always have to remind ourselves and stay humble that, hey, we should not have so much like pride and prejudice, right, when we deal with like all kind of new techs. Before we actually spend some time into the new thing, we should not have any comment on it, right? Because I always feel like our curiosity is kind of like our joints. The older that we get, the more inflexible that we are, right? So we have to intentionally do like a physical stretching as well as like mental stretching so that we can continue to learn new things. Otherwise, we become all these like old guys that young people hate. I believe that the good way for us to stay updated is, okay, we have to embrace the new tech and then have to try the new tech before we have a comment. Because what didn't work in the past doesn't mean that it will not work right now. Because it's like different time, different tech, different people. Yeah, so I agree with you that on one hand, for media, I mean, I don't have high hope on medias, because if they are really, really that good, right, then they probably will spend some time before they write a report. Right? But at the same time, I hope all the people or participants in Web3, they keep an open mind. Right? They don't just have a bad bias, because that would cloud them in making smart decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's getting better though. Like, we already feel like there's less tribal behavior than say 2 years ago. So yeah, hopefully that continues. But yeah, I think that's really true.
Awesome. Zedd, it was a great time having you here. We really appreciate your time. Last question. Will we see you in Asia this year?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Definitely Token 2049. I'll be around.
Okay.
I don't know. Whenever Ray wants me to get over to Hong Kong, I'll come pay.
I mean, last time I met you at Paris, right? And then before that, I actually met you in Hong Kong, right? During APEX, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he travels a lot, and honestly, I think a lot of the actions in Web3 and crypto are in Asia, right? So it makes us a lot of sense for us to spend more time in Asia, and I think that's I would say that's a very rare case where a lot of the new tech innovation is actually not happening in Silicon Valley. I think this is good in a way, not because it's not happening in Silicon Valley. This is good in a way that it can be a global movement where no matter where you're based, as long as you're willing to spend time, you can actually participate in this like big cultural and also financial movement in the world. This is really, really encouraging, especially for a guy who are not based in the US. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Asia is going to be huge for us going forward. Definitely. It's crazy. We don't do any like marketing or anything in Asia, but particularly in our Ordinals marketplace, we organically have a lot of users from Asia. So it's pretty cool to see. So I'll definitely be out there. Definitely be out there.
Awesome. Great.
Great. Thank you so
Okay.
much for joining us today. Don't forget to follow us on GM Show Official, Memeland, Stakeland, and our host. We'll see you again next week on Thursday and Wednesday if you're in US. Thank you, guys.